Dominica's implementation of the Convention on the Rights of People with Disability comes up for scrutiny at the United Nations. An $800,000 road project nears completion in Tukari, and the hospitality industry professional blames lack of employee appreciation for poor customer service in the country. I am Lorraine Graham with the Channel 5 News. Details coming up.
We mixing white dog with anything. Only white dog. We mixing white dog with anything. Only white dog can beat it. It's calling. I'm eating. It's calling. Only white dog can beat it. It's calling. I'm eating.
White Oak. When it pours, you reign.
So, I'm meeting Rico later. Gotta check in with the girls, but first, let me check my usage on the MyLime app. Now, what should I wear? Hashtag sexy. He's here. Aww.
Fresher foods? Bold flavors? More time! Get it all with appliances from Quartz. Purchase any appliance $999 and over. You can be a weekly winner of $200 US cash. Plus, purchase any Mabe appliance and win $11,000 in prizes of your choice. Shop with Quartz Ready Finance and pay absolutely nothing for 60 days. So find the solutions for your kitchen and laundry only at Quartz, bringing value home.
Top in the news, Dominica to present a progress report on its implementation of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities at a UN conference in June.
The UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities promotes equality for people with disabilities and proper access to the physical environment. Dominica formally ratified the convention in October 2012. Head of the Dominica Association of People Living with Disabilities, Natalie Murphy, says she is hoping the organization can give a good account of their activities at the New York Forum.
Coming up in June is the United Nations 8th Conference of States Parties, where Dominica is expected to report on its progress in implementing the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And persons with disabilities have been invited to participate in the Civil Society Forum, and we are hoping that we can obtain support from government to be represented at that very important gathering in June. We have already approached the Ministry for support, so we are just waiting on final vote.
To speed up the implementation of the convention, government has to set up a National Disability Council. Last year, government appointed a local consultant to assist the DAPD in planning for implementation of the convention.
We have sort of formulated a plan of action. We have looked at the terms of reference for the National Disability Council. We have a communication strategy proposal, all our proposals. So we are getting ready so that by the time we have the council constituted, which is taking longer than we anticipated, but by the time this council is constituted, that they will have work already for them to do. There are things happening that points to the implementation of the convention, but the state has to play its part. We as an organization has to play its part. Civil society, the whole country has to contribute.
While Murphy says they are dissatisfied with the lack of employment opportunities for disabled people, she says generally their needs are being addressed, especially within the education system here.
I am a member of the Board of Directors of the North American and Caribbean region of Disabled Peoples International. This body is comprised of organizations like ours in the Caribbean and North America, and that also includes Haiti. Every 2 years, they organize a regional assembly in which all national assemblies from the DPI North American and Caribbean region participate. And when we present our reports and we speak of, the progress that we have made, the comparison, there's not many to beat us. with the exception of Jamaica, I don't think no other country or island in the region can compare to Dominica.
In other top stories, an estimated 800,000 EC dollars road project at Tukari is nearing completion.
The contracting firm Deepcon Engineering Services is currently surfacing the road. That section of road should have been fixed as part of a road rehabilitation project from Tatan to Capuchin in 2013. But Parliamentary Representative for the constituency, Reginald Austrie, said in a previous interview that the Public Works Corporation was contracted at $2.7 million to undertake that project. However, PWC did not complete the job. The project resumed last October along Tukari ahead of Heritage Day in Capuchin, but work came to a halt again.
Sometime, 6 or 8 months ago, and the hill was in a terrible state. And that was for a number of reasons. One of the reasons being because of the unavailability of asphalt. The contractor had some delays until we decided to use concrete rather than use the asphalt. And so work started about 2 weeks ago in earnest, and I'm hoping that within the next couple of weeks we would have completed that road. And when that is done, we're hoping that we can now go back down towards the Savant Bay area using concrete again. And that would probably put that road somewhere in the region of some 90% of completion. We have a little section in Lamoff there, just before you get to Clifton, and that section to do, which would give us a completely and totally rehabilitated work.
The project includes building a proper drainage system and expanding the carriageway to accommodate two-lane traffic. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
More news now. Motorists and Fortney residents will soon be able to enter Fortney through Newtown again. The road to enter the community of Fortney has been closed for weeks due to a box culvert crossing project costing just over $500,000.
That was one of the projects that we had to do since the trough in 2013, and it costing us over $500,000 to do the retaining wall and the box culvert crossing, and also another uncovered box drain project. So there's two projects. One is at $408,000, which is the retaining wall and the box culvert, and the other one, the uncovered box drain, is $103,000. And so far, the project is progressing nicely.
Pinard says the road will be reopened in a few days.
Crossing has been done. We're waiting for the concrete to cure properly, and then we'll open the road, the Fortney road, for the general public. So we're really happy with that project, and we think that in any heavy rains or any storm, we think that that area there will be secure and safe.
In other developments, a former school teacher who had been studying in Cuba died in that country on Sunday.
The woman has been identified as 26-year-old Emanuela Marshall Stephen of Tarishpit. Her father, Emmanuel Stephen, told Channel 5 News she was a quiet person. Reports are that the young woman suffered a heart attack. However, we have not been able to verify that information. We understand Masha would have completed studies next year. She taught the Casibru Secondary School before leaving the island to pursue medical studies in Cuba in 2009. She also attended Convent High School from 2000 to 2005.
During the time she was at school, she displayed above average intelligence, and academically she was a very sound student. She was very much involved in the field of sports and was a member of our school's netball team from 2001 till she left in 2005. She was a very shy and retiring person, but really rose to the occasion when she had to. She displayed good leadership qualities. She served as a monitor in her final year and was also prefect of her house at school, St. Agnes House. The school, administration, staff and students really extend immense sympathy to her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Emmanuel Stephen, and all her other relatives. It's really a sense of loss that we feel.
Scores of Facebook comments testify to Marsha's character of being a beautiful soul, as one of her friends wrote. One person commented that she was one of their best teachers. The Cuban ambassador to Dominica, Juan Carlos Rometa de la Rosa, told us he has been in communication with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on the matter.
Coming up on the Channel 5 News, meet a customer service trainer who says she knows the main reason behind poor customer service.
I love family traditions, don't you? The fun you have when you're all together, preparing a meal that you'll all enjoy. Having the right kitchen appliances help bring it all together, and you can find them at Quartz. Appliances that give you more, fridges that keep food fresher, stoves that cook meals better. At Quartz, you get the world's best brands at the best prices. I love that, and you will too. For small and large kitchen appliances, Quartz, bringing value home.
Talk That Talk, an exciting talk show brought to you by the NCCU. Catch our very own Jade and Cedric on Thursday, April 23, 8:30 p.m. on Mapping Channel 5.
The one night of the year WWE gets extreme. Two legends. One destiny.
It's a double whammy! Mapping 2K4 presents 2-in-1 pay-per-view events. WWE Extreme Rules on April 26th and another beatdown boxing match between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao on May 2nd, 2015. Book your pay-per-view spots today for this WWE Extreme action on April 26th and the Victory Boxing match on May 2nd. Only $57.50. Yes, only $57.50. Grab that deal. Grab that deal. Sign up today. It's only on pay-per-view. Channel 105 and 21. Mapping terms and conditions apply.
You remember what you did to me?
Thanks for staying with us. A hospitality industry professional says the lack of appreciation of employees is a major contributor to poor customer service in Dominica. Brian Mead has served in the hospitality and aviation industry at the management level for over 20 years. Mead, who has conducted customer service training in Dominica, St. Martin and Antigua, says there are two main problems facing Dominica with customer relations today.
Lack of training is that they don't, employees here don't seem to feel that training is important. And training is very important. The culture is, or the thought process is that, oh, if I train my employees, they're going to leave and they're going to go away. Or I just don't have the money to train things. I don't subscribe to that at all, because when you train an employee, you get you get a lot out of them, right? It's your employee is the image of your product or of your business, right? And also at the same time, show appreciation for your employees. When you show appreciation for your employees, you get more out of them. And when you get more out of them, you get greater productivity out of them as well.
Mead says employees also need to be trained, respected, and paid well on time.
That's another reason, again, underlying reason why customer service is bad in Dominica. Because if you're not paying your employee, you know, they come to work with a long face, you know, they had attitudes. Then you say, oh, they have attitudes. But you have to ask the reason why they have attitudes. All behavior is caused. So you need to look into that and say, okay, man, he has a bad attitude today, maybe he has a bad experience at home, or what's the underlying cause? Maybe he never got paid properly.
He says the main reason people work is because they need to, but if they are shown appreciation, their employers will see a difference in their work output.
I was sitting down waiting to be served, and I saw the owner of the place lambasting the worker, telling her off and blah, 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 and so on. Of course, the result was that the worker came and served me. She forgot to bring the menu. And in the end, she forgot to give me a bill. Yes, I walked out. Then she called me, oh, come. I went back because I understood what had happened. And I'm saying to myself, how often did that happen? You know, there right away, that business place may have lost a lot of money, you know. You must treat the employees with respect.
Meantime, a customer relations trainer says lack of training is the main reason for poor customer service in Dominica. Justina John Prince has over 20 years experience in the field of customer relations as the former human resource manager at Mappin Telecoms and has written 2 books on customer relations and customer service. Prince says many businesses do not look at their human resource as a critical aspect in the development of their organization.
And if you do not train your staff, they're going to go their own way. Another thing that can be done, sometimes I ask, why is so much talk being said about productivity?
She says she has offered her services to train staff of various organizations, but many have not responded because they do not see a need. She added that managers and staff need to understand the value of good customer relations, and there are instances where staff are trained in customer service, but managers are not.
Sometimes we talk about the poor customer service in some organizations. A lot of them employees have supervisors, but are they being supervised? You will find that when employees come back or return to work after they have been trained, they have difficulty implementing what they have learned.
Prince says businesses need to review their organizational structure that can impact the service employees provide to customers. And finally, the Dominica Association of Evangelical Churches has not ruled out potential protest action against a performance by Jamaican artist Alkaline in May.
Vice President of the Dominica Association of Evangelical Churches says while he understands the rights of CARICOM nationals to free movement, steps must still be taken to protect our youth from the lyrics of songs by artists like Alkaline. Since the DAEC's statement opposing Alkaline's planned visit, Prime Minister Skerrit has said government would not interfere unless the individual poses a threat to national security. Former pastor at the Canefield Gospel Mission Church, Newman Johnson, has also chimed in on the issue, calling on pastors to evangelize instead of resorting to protest action. But the DAEC's vice president insists it's really the impact of the lyrics on young people that his organization is concerned with. Pastor Wilson says while Alkaline may not be a national threat to Dominica, young people tend to gravitate to the lyrical content of his songs, and that could have repercussions later on. He says as a civic-minded person, he believes the issue of lyrical content and its effect on all young people remains a concern for Dominicans.
We need checks and balances. And as I said, we do not have the power to allow the guy to come in or to send him out. We are simply looking at how it can affect our people.
The DAEC meets on Friday to determine whether to go ahead with protest action against Alkaline.
That's news. Your sporting highlights next.
A patient knock from Marlon Samuels kept West Indies afloat through a rain-delayed day one in their second test against England. Craig Brathwaite was the first to go early Tuesday, and everything looked shaky for the Windies thereafter, losing the homeboy Devon Smith a few overs later for just 15 runs. Darren Bravo, Shiv Chandapal and Jermaine Blackwood all walked back off the field before getting any high scores, and England's choice to bowl began to look more and more profitable. Samuels ended day one 6 runs short of a deserving century, with Captain Ramdin at his side on 6. The pair will hope to sail off strongly on Wednesday and add to their day one total of 188 for 5. Winard Islands players Tyrone Theophil and Alston Bob shined in Premier League matches at the weekend. Playing at Windsor Park, Desiderata Tremors batted first against Summits and posted a solid 311, with Theophil contributing 126. Vivian Titt with 55 and Junior Gervier 51 added to the total. Bob picked up 6 for 105 in the Summits bowling attack. When they took the crease, Summits rolled to 226 with Bob top scoring with 91. Sonny Ambrose, the other Volcanoes player, added 56 and Ian Lewis knocked 34. Vivian Titt's 5 for 87 and Martin Matthews 4 for 70 led the Tremors bowling. Tremors added 139 all out in the second innings, with Alston Bob again leading the Summits bowling attack with 4 for 29. Summits only managed 135 for 6 before stumps, the match ending in a well-fought draw. Meanwhile, Dubla United Stars went down to the Dominica Cricket Academy by 29 runs at Benjamin's Park. Batting first, the Academy knocked 133 all out in 65 overs, and Dubla later replied with 118. In the second innings, the Academy added 77 all out, giving Dubla 92 to chase for victory. They only managed 63 all out, sealing their fate. In a twist of events, however, Dubla is not happy about the game's results. More in a subsequent report. Another bundle of archives of the Harlem Sports Club featuring a number of newspaper clippings on the club was launched on Monday. Arlington James is the producer of Harlem's teams in the 1970s.
Harlem actually was born way back in 1970. I think it was in April of 1970. And there must have been a lot that was said about that team. Because, let's face it, for a team to just spring out of nowhere, quote unquote, and to win both championships that same year, a few things had to be said about the club. So I thought it would be a very good idea to actually spend some time at the National Archives and to make a collection of what was actually said about Harlem, or what actually referenced the Harlem Club back in the 1970s. Now, I had to sort of cut it in two, from 70 to 74 and 75 to 79. So this evening we are here looking at the product of that exercise.
The booklet was in part sponsored by Dr. Damian Dublin and features some press highlights of the club in the first half of the 1970s. The Dominica Football Association is increasingly confident that it can meet FIFA's mandate to implement club structure football in time for the next season. The association held a special meeting for local clubs and teams at the weekend, and according to General Secretary Erickson de Gallery, things are looking up re-club structure.
We understand that it will be a bit challenging for the teams initially, but we in the DFA, we have pledged to work very closely with them and hold their hands, so to speak, as we move forward with that process. I know it is something that will take a lot of doing, but we are very encouraged by what we saw. The participation is good, and I can conclude that the teams have a willingness to go down that road because they see the benefits that can be derived with the club structure.
The next DFA season kicks off in August, but teams now have to register as part of clubs within a time frame if they are to play the next league.
So we have not given them the timeline as yet, but as soon as we do that, then it would mean that they would have to come on board and do what it is that they have to do in order to be granted a license. Because if a license is not granted to them, then it means that they might not be able to participate in the football leagues.
The gallery and President Glenn Etienne returned from a CONCACAF Congress last Friday, where club structuring and licensing was a highlight of discussions. 3 more teams go through in the Guinness Street Football Tournament following another round of games last weekend. Reality of Maho, Ballers United of Massac and KHN2O of Tarish Pit top Zone C, Stock Farm to Maho at Teaser Ground Sunday. Other teams qualified for the final are Tra Boys of Bellevue Chopin, Point Michel FC and King Bridge Ballers of Kings Hill from Zone B. In Zone A, Grand Force Young Rockets, La Plains Yellow Tape and Young G made FC of La Plaine qualified in the tournament's first set of qualifiers. In Monday's sports segment, DFA Treasurer Philip White was heard saying that Petrocurry Point Michel was part of an incident at Bath Estate last week. We stand corrected that Point Michel was not, and I repeat, was not involved in that incident. We wish to clarify this and apologize sincerely for any inconvenience caused. And that's all the sporting highlights. Join us tomorrow.
It's time now to check your weather.
Good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am Janelle Macpherson. Satellite imagery today showed some low-level clouds across the central portion of the island chain. This resulted in partly cloudy to cloudy skies over Dominica today. Radar imagery indicated scattered showers across the islands. The weather for tonight is expected to be partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy with a few brief scattered showers. Similar conditions are expected tomorrow with temperatures peaking near 31 degrees Celsius. Sea conditions tomorrow are expected to be moderate with waves peaking near 7 feet. For the next 3 days across Dominica, the weather is expected to be occasionally cloudy with a few scattered showers. Across the Caribbean tomorrow, weak unstable conditions will result in partly cloudy to cloudy skies across most of the island chain. On the international cities forecast, rain expected in New York, thunderstorm activity in Miami, clear skies expected in London and Caracas, partly cloudy skies expected in Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:46 a.m., and will set at 6:21 p.m. For up-to-date weather information, please call our weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit our website at weather.gov.dm. Thanks for viewing and have a good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. Dominica's implementation on the Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities comes up for scrutiny at the United Nations. An $800,000 road project nears completion in Tukari, and a hospitality industry professional blames a lack of employee appreciation for poor customer service in the country. Send your questions and comments to news@mapping2k4.com. You can also access the news on the Turn Up 767 app. On behalf of the production team, I am Lurian Graham. Thank you for watching.